MC3 Tool 6, Clarifying Responsibility Without Assigning Blame. How accountability restores control when miscommunication begins to surface. When communication starts to strain, responsibility often becomes the most sensitive topic in the room. Tasks blur. Decisions stall. Follow-up feels uneven. Professionals may sense that accountability is missing, yet attempting to address it directly risks defensiveness or withdrawal. Clarifying responsibility is therefore not about assigning fault. It is about restoring structure. This tool works by separating accountability from blame, allowing responsibility to become visible without triggering emotional resistance or loss of dignity. Why responsibility becomes unclear under pressure. As pressure increases, people protect themselves by narrowing what they explicitly own. Tasks that once felt manageable become risky. Decisions feel heavier. Clients may hesitate to commit, not because they lack willingness, but because the consequences of being wrong feel too great. In multilingual or hierarchical environments, this effect is amplified. Expressing ownership publicly can feel like exposure, particularly when authority is partial or shared. Responsibility is therefore softened, shared vaguely, or deferred. From the outside, this can look like avoidance. From within the system, it is a rational response to risk. The danger of blame-based clarification. When responsibility feels unclear, the instinctive response is often to clarify it explicitly and publicly. Questions become pointed. Expectations are reiterated. Gaps are highlighted. While this may produce temporary compliance, it frequently damages trust. Blame, even when unintended, increases emotional load, reduces honesty, and encourages defensive behavior. Clients respond by minimizing exposure rather than increasing clarity. Responsibility clarified through pressure rarely holds. Separating structure from judgment. Effective responsibility clarification focuses on structure rather than judgment. Instead of asking who failed to do what, attention shifts to how responsibility is distributed. This reframing removes personal threat. It allows clients to describe constraints, dependencies, and limits without feeling accused. Responsibility becomes something to be organized rather than defended. When structure is visible, accountability follows naturally. Responsibility as a shared system. In many client environments, responsibility is genuinely shared. Decisions require consultation. Actions depend on approval. Outcomes involve multiple stakeholders. Treating responsibility as singular in these contexts creates misalignment. Clarifying responsibility means mapping how work actually moves through the system, not how it is assumed to move. This mapping often reveals why progress has stalled without anyone acting irresponsibly. Once responsibility is understood as a system, conversations become more accurate and less charged. Language that restores ownership safely. Language plays a critical role in responsibility clarification. Phrasing that implies failure increases resistance. Phrasing that emphasizes coordination reduces it. Questions that focus on sequence, dependency, and timing invite honest response. Statements that frame responsibility as evolving rather than fixed allow clients to adjust without loss of face. This does not reduce accountability. It strengthens it by making ownership realistic. Cultural influences on accountability. Cultural norms strongly influence how responsibility is expressed. In some environments, taking ownership publicly demonstrates leadership. In others, it risks appearing presumptuous or disrespectful to hierarchy. Under pressure, clients default to culturally safe behaviors. Professionals who misinterpret these signals may push for accountability in ways that increase withdrawal rather than clarity. Clarifying responsibility across cultures requires sensitivity to these differences. Why responsibility clarity stabilizes communication. When responsibility is unclear, communication absorbs the uncertainty. Messages become tentative. Follow-up feels uneven. Trust erodes quietly. Clarifying responsibility restores stability. It anchors conversations in reality. Expectations align. Progress becomes predictable. This stability reduces emotional load and prevents escalation before it begins. From accountability to reliability. Professionals who use this tool consistently are perceived as reliable rather than demanding. They create environments where responsibility can be named without fear. Over time, clients respond with greater openness and consistency. This is not because they are being monitored, but because the system feels safer. How this tool integrates with the MC3 system. Clarifying responsibility without blame reinforces all previous tools. Alignment becomes actionable. Pace becomes manageable. Exposure decreases. Authority is respected. Emotional load lightens. The next tool builds on this foundation by addressing how conversations can be reset when miscommunication has already occurred, without damaging trust or escalating tension.